I'm Daryl, and together with Carmen we're walking the southwest coast path unrushed. This time we smell the seals before we see them, we traverse giant sand dunes and visit our very first pilchard spotting hut in Newquay. We've got a 4-day weather window in March to enjoy the stretch from Padstow to Newquay and then on to Perranporth. This section is really well served by buses, so logistics are pretty easy. For our first day, we're dropping the car at our planned endpoint in Constantine Bay and catching the 56 bus on a 15-minute bus ride back to our start point in Padstow. The bus drops you right at the end of the long quay to the left of Padstow. With stomachs already thinking about lunch, we pick up some pasties in town. We're not sure if the beach cafes are open this early in the season, and we're not about to risk it. It's a gentle start back following the Camel River down to the sea, before a short climb up to the day mark at Stepper Point, before we work our way back into the hamlets at Travone and Harlyn. We could have stopped here, but elect to complete the longer circle around Travo's Head, past the lighthouse, and finally, it's downhill to the car at the far end of Constantine Bay. At 13 or so miles, this took us a total of 6 hours, including stops. This early on, the towns and paths are pretty quiet. With the tide out, we did enjoy the walk along the sands of the Camel River, but do double check the tide movements if you opt for this route. One tiny stream, one slightly bigger stream. Give me a hand. It was a little tricky rejoining the path to cross the stream at Harbour Cove, and from here it's a steady climb despite some wet, sticky patches. So we're about 2 hours out of Padstow to get up to the day mark. Not going particularly fast, but yeah, it's a really beautiful part of the walk, and yeah, we're going to head inland down to Harlyn Bay now, down in the other side of the estuary over here, and then on to the next headland. Whoa, look at that down there. This section's mad. Walk on the wall. that looks quite hokey. I think we'll come down this bit. So we've made it to Harlyn Bay. It's quite sticky going up around the headland, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Up around the headland by the day mark. But then it's fairly downhill, and once you get to Travone, then it becomes quite a lot easier. We're coming along Harlyn Beach now, and you do have to join the beach, but we've got high tide, well not high tide, but it's too high to go all the way along the beach path there. So there is about 300 meters along the beach. The path's going to go up and then out to Trevose Head. But yeah, it's been a good start back. A bit hard starting with 12 miles after we've done nothing for the whole winter, but it's just good to get going again. And there's rain, a bit of rain tomorrow, so we figured we'll just push on, break our normal rule of going unrushed, and we're just going to keep going while the sun's good and we can. That's a big old hole. There's so many of these holes around here. Just something to do with the geology, eats in underneath with the waves and erosion and then sucks it out from the inside. It's bizarre. Having spent 4 hours driving down to Cornwall and then doing the walk, it was fair to say that we were pretty tuckered out by the end. But we were certainly glad to have rounded the headland before the forecast rain in the following days, even if our feet disagreed. Day 25, and we aim to complete the shorter walk from Constantine to Mawgan Porth, with a few options to bail out if the rain came in hard. Again, we'd leave our car at the end point and bus it up to the start at Constantine. It's a quick jaunt to Porthcothan before the section past Bedworth Steps. It's some beautiful coastline here. In all, 9 miles with not too many climbs. The sea's magnificent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we've been walking first hour. We're about 2/3 of the way to Porthcothan. Hopefully there'll be a loo there. We're going to stop and have a cup of tea. So I think we've got about, I don't know, 20 minutes to go, 20-30 minutes. The sea is spectacular, as you can see. It's a really easy stretch, averaging about 2.5 miles an hour. Been walking about 90 minutes and just coming into Porthcothan. It's been easy going. It's been pretty quiet. I think the weather forecast put a lot of people off, but it's not been that muddy and we've not had any rain so far. I might be eating my words later. But for now, it's a really nice day for walking and it's pretty quiet, so that makes it even better. Okay, I think this is our one section where we've got a bit of a climb, but for those of you who've been doing the coast path, this is nothing, is it? Bedworth Steps just ahead of us now. Coast path, coast path, coast path. Oh, no coast path.
Down there's a bench.
Where? Oh, right at the bottom. Nah, hasn't got the view.
There on the right.
Yeah, I see it. Made it back to Mawgan Porth. Yeah, it was 9 miles in total, just getting in, it's just starting to drizzle, so yeah, good timing. Got lucky today. So we'll be back here starting again tomorrow morning and make our way back to Newquay. This section reminded us of the run down to Bude, starting with a few small climbs followed by a cliff-top walk to Watergate Bay and gradually descending to Porth and then Newquay. If it wasn't for the very wet and muddy stretches at this time of year, this would have been a very straightforward walk. As you enter Newquay, be sure to take in the Iron Age settlement that's existed here for thousands of years on barrowfields. We have to recommend doing the 2 headlands on this path, firstly Trevelg Head at Porth and then up to the old Coast Guard hut at Towan Head and Newquay. They're each worth the extra steps of this 10-miler that ends on Fistral Beach. So the goal today is get down to Newquay, walk around the beaches, get round the first headland, here where the Headland Hotel is, and that's pretty much where our apartment is. If we do that section today, it's about, I don't know, 9 miles, something like that. Then tomorrow we'll go around Pentar Head, which is the next headland in the distance, and then from there hopefully it'll be low tide, we can cross the footbridge below Crantock and then head on round to Holywell. So that's the plan. It's funny, a couple of guys on the bus having almost identical conversation to the one we had at dinner last night, talking about tide times and crossing the footbridge. That was a long stretch of muddy stuff. I think definitely this time of year, it was the same last year when we were walking from Westward Ho to Clovelly, and again now, is just resetting your expectations in terms of distance covered when it's so muddy, because it really does slow you down. I mean, you can try and go fast, but the chances are you're probably going to end up flat on your arse and covered in mud. So unless you fancy that and you're a bit of a mud runner, so this 2 miles has taken us nearly an hour and a half. Most of it was fine, but as soon as you get to the muddy bits, you're really having to straddle and work your way slowly with each step. But no less fun, it's just different, and yeah, it just changes things. Okay, we've headed down to the headland. Yeah, some spectacular sections. There's a bridge that links you up to the island. I think in a previous video I watched a Pilgrim Pools a couple of years ago. There weren't the 2 paths that were running down, but it looks like they've opened it up again now. We've certainly come down, and it looks like it's reopened, so you can do a loop around this headland and back round, and it's definitely worth not shortcutting this bit if the paths are both open. Oh, that's mad. Built their own Clifton suspension bridge. I love it. Now this is the Hewer's hut. Apparently a very important building, because this is where the lookouts would sit and watch out for shoals of pilchards coming into the bay and send a message down to the harbour, down on the right there, to get out and where to go. Morning everyone, and welcome to the end of our journey. Actually come down to Perranporth this morning. It's the end of our walk for today. Parked in the car park, going to catch the bus back to Newquay, and that means when we finish our walk we can head straight off. Directly opposite the car park is the bus stop, and it's about 30 minutes to Newquay from here on the bus. Go back, have breakfast, pack up and get on our way. And all that means when we finish our walk we can just collapse in the car, put some soft shoes on and then drive back home to Dorset. Just two key tidal timings on this walk. The first is for the footbridge crossing of the Gannel. More on that shortly. This walk is a mix of beaches, sand dunes and headland walks, all nicely spread out. There is a real treat on this walk just past Porthcothan Beach. A pit stop is possible at Holywell before rounding the MOD camp and descending onto the wide expanse of Perran Sands. The second tidal pinch point is the headland just before Perranporth. The chances are you'll need to climb up the enormous sand dunes as we did before you wrap this one up after 12 miles with plenty of variety thrown in. Coming down to the boardwalk that crosses the river at low tide, and we're bang on low tide. It's 9:30, low tide's at 9:34 and it's at 2 meters. At that point the tide has dropped to 2 meters, but it's only just passable at that stage. I'll say anything above 2.2 meters you're going to be wading through the water. 2.5 meters, forget it. At first we smelt them, then we heard them, and finally we saw them. This magnificent group of seals just resting on the sand shortly after Porthcothan. Coming up to 12 o'clock, and apparently the tea room is open in Holywell. About half a mile to go. Nice coffee. Okay, if you follow the maps, it takes you right up on the dunes quite early on along the beach, and obviously you're trying to avoid this pinch point where the tide comes in. But actually, if you continue further along than shown on the Ordnance Survey map, there's a set of ramps that goes up right at the end. I think that's definitely a much better route. Last steps onto the beach. Oh.
It's a firm beach.
Yeah. That's it. Perranporth. Perranporth?
Yeah.
Perranporth. Definitely Perranporth. 12 miles, about 5 hours. But that's us done for now. Home. I'm back. Don't know when we'll be back.
Probably October, isn't it?
Yeah, probably will be October, unless we come down in the summer sometime. We'll see. To join us for more of the Coast Path, please like and subscribe for the next episode. It's completely free. Anyway, thanks so much for watching our journey. I hope it's really useful for your own planning.